In the Yukon's wild and frozen frontier, where fortunes are carved from frost and gravel, a storm has been brewing. Not from the sky, but from deep within the mining world. It began quietly, as many legendary moments do. A single claim, once roaring with heavy machines and roaring dredges, suddenly fell silent. Rumors echoed across the valley. Had Tony Beets, the icon, the outlaw, the rebel of the North, been banned? Not quite. The truth was more complicated. Tony Beets wasn't banned from mining, but a regulatory crackdown stemming from a 2017 water license violation had finally caught up with him. Fines were issued. Restrictions were placed on his operations. His ability to divert water, essential to any placer mine, was sharply limited. And while the man himself was far from out of the game, the temporary halt created the illusion of collapse. And in mining, perception is everything. To outsiders, it looked like a kingdom had fallen, and to opportunists, it looked like an opening. Parker Schnabel, one of the youngest but sharpest operators in the region, didn't wait to confirm the facts. He didn't need to. In the North, timing is everything. With snow on the ground and government seals posted on Beets' equipment, Parker saw what others couldn't, or wouldn't. A rival wasn't gone, but he had slowed. And in the Yukon, slowing down means giving someone else a head start. While some crews whispered and waited, Parker made moves. Quiet ones at first. His legal team filed paperwork. Scouts were sent under the guise of environmental surveyors. His logistics team began preparing routes and hauling plans for a possible expansion into land Tony Beets had long called his own. Whether Beets was coming back or not didn't matter. Parker wasn't after the man. He was after the opportunity. Across the valley, trucks began to roll. Yellow rigs lit up the white landscape, carving new paths toward claims adjacent to Beets Creek, side lots and access corridors Tony had used for years. Parker had acquired them legally, months earlier, under a shell company. And now, with Tony restricted and pinned by regulations, Parker tightened the circle. On the surface, it looked like business as usual. Below it, it was. But back across the Klondike, Parker's operation was accelerating. With Beets tied up in red tape, Parker's crew launched full-scale production. Wash plants fired up, conveyors moved like clockwork. Gravel was tested, and what came out surprised even the veterans. High-grade gold, untouched, and ready. The ground Tony had sat on for years was now feeding Parker's bottom line. Then, strange things started happening. Drones hovered where they shouldn't. Motion sensors tripped at odd hours. Equipment markers vanished. One morning, tire tracks were found circling a new wash plant. Tracks that didn't belong to any of Parker's crew. And somewhere, just over the tree line, Tony Beets stood, holding a drone controller, watching everything unfold on a tiny screen. "He's got a slick setup," Tony muttered, smirking. "Let's see how long it lasts." The rivalry had become more than just business. It was personal. Online, fans split into camps. Number sign "Justice for Beets" trended as mining forums lit up. Some accused the government of playing favorites. Others applauded the enforcement, citing Beets' long history of pushing limits. And then, everything turned again. Satellite data from a territorial geology scan, originally meant to assess water contamination, revealed something shocking. A massive, subsurface gold deposit, buried beneath the very section of Beets Creek that had been locked down by regulators. It wasn't just rich, it was dense, wide, and possibly worth tens of millions. Parker's crew moved fast, again. Drill rigs appeared along the perimeter, boring into gravel around the restricted zone. Every test confirmed it. Flour gold, thick black sand, and signs of a larger deposit just meters away. Still off limits, but close enough to touch. For Tony Beets, the realization hit hard. He wasn't just fighting paperwork. He was boxed in, literally, while the kid who once looked up to him now dug closer to the crown jewel of his empire. And still, Parker didn't stop. He filed more claims, bought out smaller lots, improved infrastructure. His team worked 24-hour shifts. Wash plants ran under floodlights while drones patrolled the perimeter. Then came sabotage. Pumps mysteriously stopped working, fuel drums vanished, hoses were slashed, survey flags pulled from frozen ground. Both crews pointed fingers, though no one publicly admitted blame. Tensions escalated. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police were called in to de-escalate what they officially labeled a territorial mining dispute. Unofficially, it was a Cold War over warm gold. Beets struck back, not with machinery, but with lawyers. He filed an injunction against the Territorial Mining Office and Parker's holding company, claiming unlawful restriction of access and corporate interference. Parker's team countered with defamation and sabotage claims of their own. The Yukon Supreme Court became the new battleground. And then, another bombshell. Leaked documents revealed that several board members of Parker's environmental consultant firm also sat on the review panel that recommended Beets's water license restrictions. Conflict of interest or coincidence? Parker's lawyers called it legal overlap. Beets's supporters called it a rigged game. For the first time, the media turned its spotlight not just on the miners, but on the system itself. The court placed both operations under temporary suspension. Beets's claim was frozen. Parker's expansion paused. Cameras shut down. And for the first time in months, the valley went quiet again. In the stillness, both men retreated. Tony Beets returned to his workshop, rusted tools hanging beside faded photos of his family. He muttered to himself, "They think I'm done?" and began sketching new plans on the back of a fuel invoice. Something smaller, something smarter. Off-grid. No licenses, no oversight. Just old-school mining, the way he used to do it. Meanwhile, Parker pivoted. With the North in legal limbo, he turned south, scouting new ground, rallying investors, and preparing for a new chapter. But the shine on his legacy had dulled. Whispers of insider plays, rigged regulations, and too-good-to-be-true claims followed him like dust behind a haul truck. Even as both sides went quiet, fans kept the feud alive. They called it the Gold War, a modern-day Yukon standoff that wasn't just about pay dirt. It was about power, legacy, and pride. Two empires staring each other down across snow-covered valleys, each waiting for the other to blink. This really wasn't just about the gold anymore. It was about their legacy, and about two men too hard-headed to quit, each carving his story into frozen earth. Outside, the Yukon wind howled through the empty sloughs, rattling the frozen pipes like bones. As the Yukon sun rose over the thawing creeks, both camps prepared for what everyone knew was inevitable: the next strike. The silent valley stretched between them, two empires preparing for whatever came next.